Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I know you're off to a great start. I can see in here you're already posting to the introduction module, and you're doing a wonderful job. By the looks of it, you have an awesome group and a great class ahead, definitely. I wanted to give you a few pointers and tips about how to stay on top of your work and how to really make the most of your time in here. I want you to not think about this course in the way you might think about other courses, which is that you do things just to memorize them and possibly spit them back onto testing. That really is not the key in here. The key in here is to take everything you learn in this course, apply it to yourself, create layering of understanding so that way you can really make application. I'm pretty sure in any other class you take, you cannot say that the goals of those courses are to be able to do things in here that could be life-changing, which is what the case is in this course. The case is that you want three things out of this course. The first one is to be able to live longer. Wouldn't you be shocked if you could add 30 years to your life expectancy by making changes now that last through a lifetime? To be able to live healthier, so that way you make the most of the years that you have here, as well as to be able to die well. To be able to say you could do any one of those three things, let alone all three things, would be truly awesome. And in order to be able to do that this semester, I hope you make the most use out of your time in here. Since you're here for credit, or you're here just because of learning, one or the other or all together, please take the time to take each opportunity to learn the best way that you can. When you create at the end of the semester and look back and think, what did I learn in here? You will just be shocked to be able to put it all together and say there are so many pieces that can really help and change my life. And I hope that's the way that you feel. I first started thinking about this course when I was 24 years old. My husband and I, Eric, had bought a house from a couple named Richard and Ida Roof. They were 102 and 104 years old in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Richard died mowing the lawn. And I know your first instinct is to say, oh, Richard died. Don't feel bad for Richard. I feel bad for no person who dies at 104 doing something that's difficult work like mowing the lawn. Richard was on top of his game, and he lived a wonderful life, and he died a wonderful death. Ida died 2 years later at 104. And when I think about that couple, that's the first time I started thinking that, wow, our U.S. life expectancy is about 77. And they outlived that by nearly 30 years. She died 2 years later at 104. I went to her funeral, and I was shocked. Because when someone dies at 104, you just think to yourself, no one else is there because, well, you just assume they're all dead. Not in her case. There were about 3,000 people at her funeral. And when I think about the way that she lived, by the signs and the symptoms and things I saw around the house that gave me clues as to her life, it made perfect sense why. She had a sense of spiritual wellness that she embraced through her church. There's many ways to embrace spiritual wellness, but that's how she chose to do it. She also was a contributor to her community health and her environmental health. She worked with battered women's shelters, and she had affected women all over the state, I found out later. And when I look at her intellectual health, she had stayed sharp. There were thousands of crossword puzzles all over the house. And a crossword puzzle wallpapered on her bedroom wall that was huge, that had been wallpapered over at least 100 times with ones she had done in years past. And I think to myself, all the ways that they stayed so intellectually strong assisted them to live and die well. They also raised their own chickens, and they grew their own food. And in doing that, they had a wholesome sense of physical wellness as well as a contribution to a physical fitness in the activities they choose. Geez, Richard was mowing the lawn at 104. That's difficult work for a 40-year-old, let alone a 104-year-old mowing an acre of grass. So when I think about them, I always reflect on the multifaceted nature of why they lived so long. And all of the clues come together into making a good life. So no matter where you're at this point in your life, I want you to sit back to reflect and say, every decision that you make, even if it's a non-decision, is an action towards extending your life or bringing death closer. And I know that's a grim picture to start out the semester on, but I truly want you to embrace every decision that you make and do the best that you can. You won't be perfect all the time, but even the smallest decisions add up and make to big life-changing results. So keep that in mind as you continue this semester and press on. As far as being successful in this course, the biggest things you can do, if you only have 10 minutes time, 15 minutes time, jump on and always do the discussion post. If you can get on and do that discussion post and contribute to your class in that way, automatically that's a great start, and then other people in the class have an opportunity to contribute to your post and reply and create true integrated discussion, which is really the hub of activity in this class. Then if you've got another 10-15 minutes, do your self-assessment. When you've got a solid half an hour of time, be able to sit down, do your behavior change writing. I expect for your writing that you will spell check it, that you will grammar check it before it's submitted. And then also for your test, to be able to take your test, you have 2 attempts. So use those 2 attempts and use that first attempt especially as continuing your learning, so that way you do an excellent job at your second attempt submission. If you ever have difficulty with the tests, you can email me within Blackboard and I can be able to change your reset because I can see the attempts that you've taken. So if you have internet issues, you can just let me know. I do not reset test exams anytime during the last day the module is open. That's because I refuse to reopen a module once it's closed. The reason being is because the students in this class work hard to submit their work on time. It just wouldn't be fair to the other 38 students if at the end of the due date, and it's been open for at least a few weeks' time, to be able to go through and reset the whole thing for everybody and say, oh, just so you know, John couldn't submit his work, so I'm resetting it and opening it for him again the next day. How would that make you feel if you had been the student working hard the night before to make sure that you had submitted all your work on time? So in the sense of fairness, I will not reopen those modules for you, and tests will not be reset on the last day because that would require the next day me reopening the modules. So please check your tests early, make sure you get all your work done on time, and that will really be the key for success. Don't forget that extra 100 points you have at the end of the semester when I look back at your discussion posts, not just to the major questions, but to other students in the class. If you've responded appropriately to each of the students throughout the semester, then on average you do at least 4 responses to other students throughout for each of the learning module discussion questions, then you're on track for that 100 points. You have your 2 major assignments in here, which are also your presentation, as well as your Gordon Rule writing assignment, which is an assessment that looks at your research ability as well as being able to write. And when we put this all together for a big picture of health, it really comes out with an awesome, awesome result. I expect great things, and I'm working to prepare and open for you at the end of Module 1. So when Module 2 opens, your writing assignment will open there. You have 4 weeks to complete that, and I will be with you every step of the way, helping you throughout the process. I'm completing a website that I'm building right now that will enable you to really be successful at that assignment. I'm compiling sources, so that way you have an option of sources, compiling the APA reference page, so that way you can just click to be able to post those types of things, as well as giving you some framework examples of how this whole thing will work so you won't have any questions when we get to that point. Looking forward to an awesome semester with you all. Have a wonderful week, and keep up the good work.